Iram. We'll start with Omkaram and Sai Gayatri. Om. 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 Om Sai Ishwaraya Vidmahe Satyadevaya Dhimahi Tanna Sarva Prachodayat. Om Saishwaraya Vidmahe Satyadevaya Dhimahi Tanna Sarva Prachodayat. Om Saishwaraya Vidmahe Satyadevaya Dhimahi Tanna Sarva Prachodayat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Sai Ram. Offering my humble salutations at the divine lotus feet of our beloved Swami, I welcome you all for today's satsang. Today's chapter is Swādhyāya, so it is continuation from the last episode. So we always have back-to-back 2 chapters. So in chapter 24, we have seen the Parikshith and Vyasa, who were lost in those beautiful episodes of Krishna and Pandavas, have realized the time when the dawn broke. That's when Vyasa leaves. And Parikshith kind of develops kind of dispassion because he was completely occupied with Krishna. He was least interested in the affairs of the world, affairs of his empire, everything, and he just wants to retire or just wants a kind of distraction. That's where he decides to go to forest for hunting. And that's when, in the forest, he comes across the herds of animals. That's when he descends his vehicle and he stalks them, he chases them. He chases them to such an extent that, Sairam, I want everyone to be on mute, please. Thank you. So he chases them and he goes deep into the forest, completely getting separated from his retinue, and finds himself in front of a hermitage. So he was badly in need of water. He was thirsty, hungry. He gets into the hermitage, he finds no one, and he gets into the hut, and that's where he finds a sage in deep meditation, completely unresponsive to his cries. He cries for water. He asks feebly, his voice, please give me water. But the sage was in deep, blissful state of samadhi. So he was unresponsive. That's when, in a fit of rage, momentary anger, he takes a snake that is on the way, and a dead snake, and just puts it around the neck of the sage, and he leaves. And this was observed the time by the hermit children. So that's when they go inside the hut and see that there was a dead snake around the neck of the sage, and they immediately go to Sringi, so who was the son of Samika, the sage, the meditating sage. Sringi was first heedless to their words because they start telling that someone has put a dead snake around your father's neck. So it's something, it's a great insult. Why don't you go and check yourself? So initially he was completely engrossed in playing and he was heedless. But these kind of people, they kind of instigate too much, provoke too much. That's when he comes and discovers the truth by himself, and suddenly he loses his cool completely. And in a fit of rage, in a fit of rage, he finds a person in a royal robe who was moving away, and he just takes water from the river and he pronounces the curse that he would die in 7 days with a snake bite. And Shringi, Shamika, after coming, out of this samadhi state, he finds the truth. Initially, he was thinking that, okay, it was done by some ignorant person, and for unnecessarily, his children are worried. But later, he comes to know that not just worried about that, but they cursed him. The curse was also not normal curse. Curse was a curse of death. That's when he starts reprimanding his son, Shringi, and that continues. In this chapter also, that continues. So he starts telling, how can a recluse be so careless? How can a recluse be so reckless? We have come here in pursuit of, we renounce and denounce everything, in pursuit of attaining the Lord, living on roots and fruits. Mainly, senses should not control us. How come? When we want to renounce something, our main pursuit is that, and you are plunging into that. How is it possible? How is it, something which is contrary to our living or contrary to what we are doing? So he was quite harsh in reprimanding his child. Of course, he should be, because the kind of act that he has done is not something, a trivial thing, a death curse. It's not a normal thing. That too for something, a trivial mistake. Yes, in eyes of Shamika, is a trivial mistake only. Unable to bear the pain of his father's words, because they started pricking him like swords and hammer blows. He falls at the feet of his father, begs his pardon. Forgive me, father. What I've done is wrong. But even king's demeanor, a king, a man of that stature, how can he behave so outrageously, so irreverentially? I could not bear his inhuman act. I could not bear the insult hurled upon you, and I lost my cool. That's where I had to curse him. But is king's behavior justified? Is he not at fault? I accept, and I'm seeking forgiveness for my fault. But is king's behavior justified? That's what he questions. And once the child's heart is now full with repentance and pain, slowly, the tone of the father also kind of softens. Little that harshness in the tone goes down. Slowly, he takes him near something, beside him, and starts telling, he starts explaining him. Dear, you need to understand. Sometimes destiny is so powerful, time is so powerful that it robs all the discrimination, all the reasoning faculties of man, and that compulsive urge in him makes him do certain things. That is what happened with Parikshith. You know how Parikshith, King Parikshith is the devout king, staunch theist, great devotee of Krishna. Not only that, his character, so blemishless character, how he, his governance, how he maintained his people, how he maintained his subjects, completely morality in society. Not only that he was himself a morally upright person, he ensured that each and every subject of his also to be having a good moral conduct. That's where he traveled. And every time he had thousands and thousands of servants at his behest, serving him, waiting for his call, waiting for his command. Even when he leaves the mansion, there are many soldiers, many, these guards waiting, just looking at his eyes. So one for one command. And wherever he goes, he's having kingdoms, not just one kingdom. He's an emperor, Chakravarti. And every kingdom he goes, the kind of welcome he gets is so grand. The hospitality he receives is something which we cannot even describe. Such a person has come to our hermitage, and he did not receive any grand welcome as such. Forget about that. When he was in dire need of water, he was really thirsty. That's when none of us or no one could offer water to him. In that stage, out of that frustration, that momentary frustration, he didn't have any intention to disrespect also. He just out of that frustration, he just put something, like a dead snake, and he left. What is there in that? No, it is something which is very trivial thing. Dead snake would never harm a person. So he didn't even harm me. Physically, he didn't slit my throat or he didn't hit me. He just put something which is lifeless on me. So there's no harm to me physically, no harm done to me mentally, no harm done to me spiritually. It is so trivial, and for such a trivial thing, in return, what kind of curse did you give? Death. That to such a painful death. For such a trivial mistake, for such a painful, you retaliated so harshly. That is so, doesn't befit our lineage, doesn't befit any sage. That really puts me down. And he closes his eyes. If you look at here, the most important thing here is, I think the narration of Bhagavan is so beautiful that we need to observe each and every, line and because there's a lot of depth of, where Swami, because he has given so much detail, the conversations or no, to tell about their character, to tell about their spiritual evolution, where we can connect ourselves in our life to what level we are in and what kind of maturity we have in life to develop such maturity. So all these Swami has focused in each and every conversation or the descriptions what he has done in the entire thing, the entire rendition. As soon as the son has understood his mistake and repented, suddenly, he saw, Swami, how he describes. He just takes the son, he takes his son near to him and slowly softens, slightly explains what exactly the gravity of his mistake, the kind of seriousness in his act. That is, this behavior is so important of a, from a fatherly perspective, from a kind of parenting aspect, if I see. Rest of the time, many students used to say, Swami never, for certain mistakes, Swami used to stop talking to them. Used to sometimes avoid them completely for some reason. And they used to introspect, they used to find out their mistakes and they used to correct themselves. And the moment they used to correct and moment they used to realize their mistakes and start, you know, leading a new life, that's when, the kind of behavior Swami used to exhibit with them was as if nothing had happened with them before, as if he was not angry at all with them before. That kind of behavior used to be there. Because my anger is, Swami used to say, even my anger is not anger, it is just a lip service. I tell something out of my love. But once you learn the lesson, why should I repeat? I just leave it there. Swami says, past is past, it's over. That episode is over. Many students even express, not just Swami, many staff we have seen, because they were so close to Swami and they were so, dear to Swami, and Swami was so dear to them that they kind of emulated most of his traits. Once I heard about Professor Rajkumar Jain, the physics head of in the Brindavan, where he slapped a student for a mistake. The student cried all the day and he repented for what he has done. The next day, he has just come and let's play badminton. Student was stunned. The day before, you were like that, and sir, what? I mean, you don't have any. You're not angry with me at all now. See, for the mistake you have done, I have given punishment, and you have understood. That is over. So why should you think about it? Let's play. So this kind of thing, should be there. So once anyone learns, suppose even if ourselves also, when we're angry on someone or we have blasted someone, if someone comes later, at least that kind of trace of it would fall on them. We would be even not behaving well with others also. Some kind of the tinge of or the trace of this anger would be definitely on them. Even whoever comes in this ambit, sometimes, depending on the intensity of the anger, it can be for some hours, it may last for some days also. We never know. But here, Swami, the next moment he is normal, absolutely normal, because his anger is just not the internal anger. It's just externally, just to correct the person. So that's what here has been exhibited by the sage Samika on his child. So as soon as the child realized his mistake and he begged pardon, he immediately softened his voice and slowly he started explaining. And the way he nicely explains the background, the context, what led Parikshit. See, Parikshit leads such a rich routine, such a luxurious life daily, and that person had. It is very natural for any person who got used to such routine. If he doesn't find anything, forget about followers. He didn't find just water. It's very natural to be, get irritated, and in that irritation, he has done something which is very trivial. So it's just like, it kind of many times if we understand the background of the person, what the person may yell at us, the person may shout at us. But later, as I was telling in the previous episode, if you just take that pause of 5.5 seconds and just probably, calm ourselves and slowly think for the other person, why he might have done this, what is the context, what is the background. Probably, I think we empathize with the person and we may even feel compassionate for him. Oh, poor fellow. That was the reason he was shouting at me. I can easily forgive. I think that can make us easily forgive others also, understanding the background, understanding the context and everything. So that's what he actually is trying to inculcate, that empathy, the value of empathy. So here, this is the very important aspect of parenting, where parents should be like like friends to their children, where they need to tell the values. There should be like open channels. Where can a child go? So if you have closed yourself, where can he go? And at the right point, the right values have to be taught. Doesn't mean that you have to be always strict, but there's a way to be, the way to inculcate the values, the way to teach them. I remember in this connection, one of the talks I heard of Mrs. Sudhamurthy of Infosys. Once she was talking about her son, Rohan, when he was in school, quite young. So he had attended a birthday party of his friend. He came to him, Mama. So for my birthday party also, I went today to that 5-star hotel. My friend, they had have party. We had a party, his birthday party at the hotel. And it was so lavish, so wonderful meal, and really it's fabulous. So for my birthday also, we should do the same. So he immediately said, "No, beta, mm, I don't subscribe to those ideas of spending money too lavishly. It's not that they were already that time well built and they had built-in process and they were quite well off by then. But even then, so that is not the right idea. See how much it would cost. Let us come to the cost of it. So you have 50 children in your class. So even if we are spending 1,000 rupees for each person, it would come up to 50,000. If you're just taking a part of it, like we have drivers' children, they're just part of it. Like if you just give 20,000 to those children, they're equally bright as you are. They're not different. They can go to a much better school. Their lives can be changed. So why don't you think about it? I'm ready to give, but I won't give you for throwing a party. But I would definitely, if you are ready to help these people, I can definitely help you in that. So my idea is this. So you think I give you time of 3 days and decide. And at least coming to your birthday party, definitely we'll celebrate. We'll have a samosa. We'll have a fruity. I think that must be more than enough, she says. And he, suddenly children as child, no one would be happy with this kind of when I'm asking the five-star hotel dinner, she's telling samosa and fruity. And that's when he goes and he waits for 3 days. After 3 days, he thinks over and comes back. Then he asks, "Okay, I'm okay with your idea, but at least you add one gulab jamun, samosa gulab jamun, and you can give that fruity." And she says, "Okay." And immediately she said that that on his birthday itself, she ensured that, okay, 50,000 I'm definitely allotting to you, but not for that party, but not for the thing. So 20,000 you're giving to these children. So she made him give those 20,000 to the children. And that's how she inculcated the value of sharing, value of caring for others. And wherever she used to go to many places for seva. She even comes to, even now, most of the times we see pictures of near Raghavendra Mutt, where she comes to the vegetable cutting. Sometimes she goes to places for the cleaning vessels, in spite of being that a lady of that stature. And she always used to take her children also during their childhood. When if she was going to some tribal area, see how children they are. They're equally good as you, but they're disadvantaged. Sometimes they used to say, mother, whenever I feel like spending something, I have the guilt now. You always bring something, some or the other in front of us and show that this is more. Somewhere the guilt comes to us when we are spending some penny. And later, it kind of developed. In them, of course, that time it may be a little painful to them, not so good to them. They might not have felt good about it. But later, she even told that when he was studying in abroad, even one day during his birthday, he just sent the money of his scholarship stipend, something to that. I'm very proud of you, mom, for the education you have given me, the kind of values that you have inculcated in me, imbibed in me. I'm proud that my mother doesn't think of only about her children, but think of other children too. So that was the greatest compliment she got from her son. And he sends that amount of scholarship to spend for those Jawans who were killed in that parliament attack in 2001. Please use for them. It's not a enormous amount or something, but that value that has built in his character, that has become his character now. On his birthday, he is trying to share something that was that you know uh, seeds were sown at a tender age when he was a school-going kid. It has become part of his character because of the right parentage. Even in KBC, when she came, Amitabh Bachchan was so proud of her. He was telling, so we are so proud that to tell that, Madam, we are staying in this country where Sudhamurti lives. No, we belong to that country where Sudhamurti belongs to. So that proud we are of you. So such kind of mothers are required, such kind of parents are required today. Who can spend that time and who can. Today, people don't have time. No to time with children. They are so much engrossed in work. And most of the couples, even I've seen that they have decided not to have children because maybe it is a good decision these days because they have decided at least some clarity is there that we ourselves are not in are clueless about our direction. What direction we can give to a new life? Maybe they are right in their own perspective. But if we are not able to give a right, or if we are not at least till certain age, till there is certain kind of maturity, if parents are not like friends or if have closed their channels, definitely there would be a disaster. So the way we speak and everything, the parentage is very crucial, in creating beautiful citizens, just like the wonderful mother created a beautiful son. That value she inculcated of sharing. Recently I was watching one web series where a parent be so harsh to the child because when the son, I mean, the person is born, his mother dies. That's where his father also kind of a stigma. He kinds of develops some stigma that he has brought. He is the cause for her death. So he's Rakshas, Rakshas, Rakshas. Somehow he keeps on telling that. He doesn't behave with him properly, and every time he beats him, and he always calls him Rakshas. He keeps hearing these stories of all these legends of Kali and all. Somewhere he develops that I'm Rakshas, Rakshas. So he builds that I am Rakshas, I am that Kali. He starts thinking that I am that Kali, and he completely becomes such a terrible antisocial element that he creates havoc. He not only kills his father, he kills his grandfather, not only his people. He literally kills even he loses the emotion. He uses, I mean, the way they showed is like how a person in this age can become easily an antisocial element if right parentage or right values are not inculcated in him at the right age. So that's what it can happen. It can be a disastrous. Improper parentage or poor parentage can become a disaster in one's life if we are instead of that is much better. Not having children is still much better because at least you are not spoiling your life. But if you have taken a decision of becoming a parent, you have a huge responsibility. That is there. That's what here being taught to us by Swami in this. You have to counsel the children. You have to talk to them. You should be in such a way that they can approach you easily. Should not be in such a way that they are hesitating to approach you. They're afraid to approach you. No, it should be. You should be so friendly. One should be so friendly with the children. So that's why at least if they try to join them in Balvika or something like that, if you're not giving so much time, at least something that much that much we can do for children. At least they are in good company, good values may come inside them. But definitely whatever values they inculcate, but parents are always the best teachers. Till certain age, they have to be like friends. Otherwise, family, not only the family is crippled, I think later the society also will be crippled when we are going to produce such citizens. So now coming back to the story, so Samika closes his eyes. So he explains the gravity of the mistake, and slowly he closes his eyes to find no there are any means, any way I can find to save the king. The king should be, and he finds that there's nothing that can be done from my side because these ascetics have a power. Is an ascetic who can even withdraw the curse, who can even make it null and void also. He found that, but something that is beyond his ken. And one more thing here we have to respond, understand here is, as they say, that with greater power comes greater responsibility. The way even Shringi is also acting is with a lot of maturity. Not Shringi, Shamika. Sorry. As soon as he found out the curse, he didn't immediately withdraw it. He's kind of using his faculty of discrimination and finding what can I do, whether I can do something or not, whether I can intervene or not. So all these things. So there is a greater responsibility. Just if you have the power and we don't have the wisdom, probably we can become like a Shringi. When we have the power, but we don't have the wisdom how to exercise that power, we may create disasters like that. But we have that responsibility like Samika, who is thinking whether I can use my power even for the good, not even for the bad. Even for the good, he is thinking. So he closes his eyes and he prays God, please save the king. If you wish to forgive my son, you forgive, or if you want to punish, you punish him, but please save the king. I feel there might be a fear also to this ascetic because the person who was cursed is a king. Suddenly, an empire would become an orphan. If a king is lost, entire empire, it's not just the king's life is affected now. The entire empire's life is affected. All his subjects are affected, and everything is affected. It may create chaos. Not only that, my son has brought such a sin on the entire lineage that probably other communities may develop grudge against sages. So, what impending doom may be falling on the sage community? That also could be a concern for him. So all these things are there, and in spite of all that, he was just praying, God, please save the king. At this, even at the cost of my son also. I'm okay if my son dies also, if you're going to, I'm okay if you're going to punish him, but king should be saved. That was his prayer. Because the man at the helm is so important. That to a person like Parikshith, a blemishless character, who loves his subjects like his own children, a devoted king, if something happens to that person because pandemonium is created, complete chaos is created. So Bhagwan also, sometimes Bhagwan was criticized. He used to talk most of the time with these industrialists, businessmen, diplomats, bureaucrats and all. Most of the time he used to spend with him. Swami used to tell, Swami, some people used to, Swami, why you only talk to this rich? You only talk to elite. What about others? Not that he didn't give interviews to others. He gave to everyone of all the classes. But Swami faced that criticism. Swami even said, see, the person at the helm, someone like an industrialist or a businessman or someone whom at his command a lot of people are there, a man in a leadership position. If I'm going to correct him, if I'm going to transform him in some way, see how many lives get transformed, how many lives may be put on the right track. Because they can bring about change not only in themselves, but in an environment around them. So they may bring out the policies that may be congenial for the growth of people, congenial for the the value based environment. So that's why I always focus. I spend more time with them. One person, if the man at the helm is corrected, entire community is corrected. That universal love. Because for that universal love, Bhagwan used to talk to them. But people like ignorant people like us would never understand that. The same universal love here, Samika is also, displaying what happens if the king is, even if my son dies, doesn't happen, I may grieve. Maximum to the extent my family may grieve or some of his friends may grieve. But if king is lost, just not about grieving, it is going to create doom. It's going to create complete chaos in the entire world. In this connection, even I would like to give an example of a great devotee. Before that, yeah, I'll just explain here. Yeah, once he opens eyes, so he prays, and once he opens the eyes, he finds other ascetics and other all his the young friends of his son Sringi and many others, all the inmates of the hermitage and others have gathered there. And he even requests them, you also pray for the king, pray for the life of king. So my son has done an injury and he has brought such a disgrace to our lineage. So it's a mistake from my son. And let's all pray for the king. Let's all pray for his well-being so that no blasphemy or no nemesis may fall on us, may fall on our community, or no chaos is created to this entire humanity. So you pray for them. In this aspect, kindly be mute, sir. I request everyone to be on mute. Sai Ram. So the man at the helm, as I was telling, Victor Kanu was one such devotee who used to come to Swami from, I think, 70s, 80s. He was a diplomat. He was from Sierra Leone, a country in West Africa, and used to work as a diplomat in UK. He says that the kind of life I had, he was a diplomat and such a kind of lavish and luxurious life he had. Every day there were parties in the evening, and there was such a widespread, such a kind of food, so rich food, and every food had a different kind of drink. So as many items, as many drinks, and so every day it was an everyday affair. And person like me who was so much engrossed with this life, for me, sowed that seeds of love, compassion, and service bent in my mind, such a way that today, I used to attend his talks in Parti. So he used to tell all this. So he established a school in 1992 in a slum, which later, even got a name as a miracle school, because a lot of, it brought about changes not only in the, students and, even their parents, and it produced many wonderful citizens later. So it even got many awards from the government. So that was the school that he has established in Zambia. So to say a person, it is just one example what no Bhagwan's love can do. A diplomat who was endorsed in his bureaucratic affairs, and but Swami just as he said, I just have to correct just the man at that helm. Later, what he does, I don't know. That's what that universal love in Swami. He just switches on. It triggers somebody, and that's where it touches the lives of many lives, millions of lives miraculously. So that's what happened in the life of Victor Kanu. Even Swami changed his name in Dream. You should have been Victor Krishna Kanu. So even he changed, and later he was even called as Victor Krishna Kanu. So where the school still runs same this thing, and it's a value. Satyasai value education is something which this school has taught the entire country, and where they have imbibed that as a policy of Satyasai education there. So that is the power Bhagwan's love has, and if we into correct. Because why I brought this concept is just one man at the helm is enough for Swami. Just he always said, no, I just need one. I don't want many to create this kind of thing. So like that, you can understand he has transformed many, and today they have transformed in turn many. They have given no kind of livelihood to many and brought that value-based environment to many. And we never know what is happening around the world today when we look at all these examples. Next, one more important thing we have to look at here is, if we look at Samika, he asked all other sages to join his prayers. Let us all pray together. Let us all, this mass prayer. So the power of mass prayers, even Bhagavan also says, if all together, no, if you pray, its power is something enormous. Sairam, I request everyone to be on mute. Someone is not on mute, please.
Mr. Niranjan, please be on mute here.
Yeah. The power of mass prayers, collective chanting. So once I was listening to Dr. Rangarajan's talk. Now I think he's called Mahatreya. That's the name of Mahatreya. He was explaining about the religion as a psychology, as an advanced psychology. He was telling, normally if you see whatever today that is manifested in life was once a thought. So if by decision, if we can only think what we want to be manifested, and if we don't want to think what we don't want to manifest in life, if we have that uh, no, kind of power where we can decide ourselves, so this is a thought I should have and that should manifest. Just like here, of course, at least Sringi had that power. May not be having that maturity that time, but still he has that transcendental state where his thoughts could transform words and they're bound to become reality in 7 days. He has that power, but all of us don't have, right? All of us are fragile, so susceptible. So we don't have that power, like where our thoughts have, can just by deciding that this thought should manifest or this should become a reality, it is tough for us. So there he told a very interesting point that for that reason, to bring everyone into one thought process, it's not so easy if one person, even a greatest orator also, one cannot be so great, like there should be someone like a personality like Swami who can bring everyone to under one thought process. For such people, it is possible, but not for all. For that, he says, no, religion has created the concept of auspicious time. There's nothing like auspicious and inauspicious times, but they created a concept called auspicious time, like Rahu Kalam, like inauspicious time, like Rahu Kalam and all, and auspicious time, because psychologically, he says that it is a mass hypnotism kind of phenomena where they're creating a kind of idea in the minds of people that if we are going to start at this time, everything is going to be good. Imagine if one person can't think, collectively, if 1,000 people are thinking at one time the same thing, the power of it to be manifested is much more. That's why Bhagavan always encouraged bhajans or mass prayers, mass chantings, mass Rudram chantings, because all of us are thinking in one way, in one direction, in one thought. It has the power to manifest. So that's why they created one more concept like inauspicious times also, like Rahu Kalam and Yamagandam, all these things like inauspicious, because auspicious will get value only when there is inauspicious. Something has to be negative. Someone has to become hero means some villain should be there. Only then he becomes a hero. So that's why they created that time. It's not that everything that starts in inauspicious time has gone wrong or everything that started in auspicious time has gone good. Nothing like that. Many trains and flights start in Rahu Kalam and Yamagandam times, But are you sure that they are going to meet accident every day? There's nothing like that, right? Only thing they are doing a kind of, we can say, creating that idea in the minds of people that if I'm going to think this way, all positive, I have started at this right time. So everything is going to become good. So everyone, like thousands of people are thinking the same way because they believe in that idea of auspicious time that is going to manifest. And that is what here, even if you look at Samika, he's implementing that idea through. You also please pray that king should at least, not only my prayer is sufficient, because he understood that what is to be done he cannot do by himself. He doesn't have power, he has power, but he has that maturity to not. We'll see that later. So that's the power of mass prayers. And always samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. This is the greatest prayer. Always Swami. Many times we even used to see Swami. If you can watch the videos, sometimes Swami also used to chant with us. Whenever we, devotees chant samasta loka sukhino bhavantu, even Swami chants this samasta loka sukhino bhavantu along with all of us. Many times I've seen. So that's the humility, everyone. Swami himself wants. So when we just pray for others, that what kind of, because we are also part of them, right? If everyone is happy, we'll be happy. That we have seen, in COVID times, even we may not have got COVID, but if others were not happy, the kind of pain that created in all of us. Probably that's why Sudama's wife asks Vishwakarma, not I just don't want palace. I want everyone's house here around me palace. Because if they are happy, I am happy. If all of us are happy, then only we can be happy because we are all connected. We are not separate from one another. We are all one. So Brother Arvind was sharing one interesting incident. So once in school, I think once he was in 11th standard or so, he was, I think they had a free hour and they were playing some dumb charades or something like that. And suddenly, he found one of his classmates, a kind of cheating or spoiling the game. So he pointed him out. No, you should not do this. This is something wrong. You're cheating. And that person didn't listen. I mean, he repeated it frequently. That's when he lost his cool and he had hit him on his head. And he was expecting, retaliation, some reaction from his friend. Friend was just holding his head and he was not doing anything. He was just looking at him. At least he was not even yelling at him or telling something or scolding him. Nothing. He was just silent. He says that is a great torture to him. That was a great torture to him because if sometimes silence need not be the trait of a weak. Sometimes silence can create a lot of kind of react fear or whatever another person. But that would be greater torture than some action. So he kind of feeling guilt of what I did, and he didn't retaliate, and he was within him he was eating up. He was eating away. Something I should do. I should apologize, and not just normal apology. I should do something, to him, something more. And he used to have a habit of, handing over hankies to, handkerchiefs to Swami whenever he used to create vibhuti. He always used to, collect such handkerchiefs. He always used to run immediately wherever Swami used to, create vibhuti, and immediately he used to give it. Swami used to wipe and give it back. So he thought, okay, let me do that today. I'll take, one handkerchief, and when Swami creates, and he gives me back, I'll give that hanky to my friend and I'll apologize him. That's how he got a good thought. And even told Swami, this is what my intention is. Please bless this handkerchief. So that day it happened to be like Swami, created Vibhuti twice and he had given the same handkerchief twice. So Swami wiped it twice and gave it back. And so he says double blessing he got. Every time he used to get only once. So today, when I said that, I mean, this is for someone, for others, for suddenly I think, he says that Swami blessed it twice. Because all the hankies I'm having till now, are blessed only once, and this is the only one that's blessed twice. So he even had one at one point of time the feeling that okay, let me keep this. But later he thought, no, I thought of giving it to him. So he goes and gives it to him and apologizes him. And even no, to his surprise, he finds that his friend also observes him, sees him when he gives that handkerchief to Swami. And he also feels so happy. They hug each other, and that ends so beautifully. So he says that if I just thought about one person, no, to make one person happy, if Bhagwan can acknowledge, no, with like this, no, I got double blessing than other. Imagine if we are going to think about every one of others, entire world. What kind of, if you extrapolate in that way, how much blessings we are going to receive, even in that way. So that's the power of Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Should always pray for the good, not only about good of us, good of everyone. Sometimes even we may get doubt. No, we have been praying Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu from years together now. But what we only see, day by day, the society is getting corrupted, deteriorated, lot of unrest. We see people, lot of pain. Where is this Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu? I'm not able to witness it myself. I'm not able to feel that myself. One more important thing here we have to understand is what is good and what is bad, we don't know. So today, what may feel good may be bad tomorrow, or what is good to me may not be good to others. It may look same, but it is not so. For someone, probably getting that job may be good for his this thing. For someone, losing job may be good for his progress in some other way. So Swami only knows what is good because he is at that higher pedestal. He is the one who knows all the things. He knows what is right and what is wrong. So once my aunt who was Swami's student, she was Anantapur campus student. So when Swami was creating vibhuti, immediately, she stretched her hand. Swami said, "Nik kadu, not for you." And he gave it to her friend next, sitting next to her. And that sort of made her feel bad. She was a little taken aback also. Why Swami said that this is not for you? I just wanted vibhuti. What else? And later she found from her friend that she had an ailment, she was suffering, and she was praying for some medicine, and Swami gave because that vibhuti was tasting bitter. So that was not for her. Later she understood that it was a medicine. It was not a vibhuti. It was looking like vibhuti, but it was a medicine for that girl. So we may think something that it is good for us, but what is right for us, what is good for us, he knows. So as I said, grace, entire thing is grace, but it will be packaged differently. Sometimes it looks the package which we might have built an image of. Sometimes it may not be in the same packing, so it may be different. So good means we have to understand that it may not be the same way which we think the good as. So Swami knows what is best. One Swami, even Nanjundaya sir, who used to translate Swami's discourses, he was like so uh, sad reading all the news where this train accident happened and this mass deaths happen and all these things. So he says, "What Swami? What is this? What is this? I mean, how can I? I'm not able to bear this. Why can't you stop all this happening?" Swami said one thing: "Is my compassion greater than your compassion?" So as Swami sees at that level, so what is good for that soul, he alone knows. He alone knows. That's why we should leave it to him. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu, we have to pray, but leave, okay, Swami, what is good for that soul, you do. I don't want to put my definitions in that so-called goodness there. Here also the same way, if you look at so when he asked all the ascetics, the group of ascetics and other young comrades of young friends of Sringi and many others to join his prayers, then one of the elderly person, says that why don't you use your spiritual powers? So curse was given by your son, who is much younger to you, and you have much more powers. Why don't you do something to undo that, withdraw that, do something? This is like already he knew that it is beyond his. I should not intervene because he has closed his eyes before he has done the meditation. He found out that it's only Almighty who can do anything, any kind of amendments I cannot do. Not that he didn't have power. He didn't want to intervene in the divine ordinance. Even we knew from the earlier chapters that it was in Parikshith's Kundali itself. It was in Parikshith's when the great rishis and the great pandits would read in front of Dharmaraja. Even Dharmaraja would be perturbed one point of time. Why? When the entire life he has seen such a good thing, such a beautiful that he has a wonderful life, no enemies, no wars in his time, and everything. At the end, why it is like this? So he would be perturbed also. Somehow he would be pacified by the sages. Don't worry about that. So at the end of the day, everyone has to go. But why you're worried about that? See that rest, everything is good. So it was there in his thing. So here also he would see things. He closes his eyes again because upon the request of that elderly monk, and he even looks like Swami says, no, I look at all your records, past, present, and future, and see what I can do, what corrections, what amendments I can do to redeem your soul. That's what he always says. So this person also, Shamika, was also looking at his records, whether anything can be done. Because somebody says, no, no, something you find, sir, something. Then suddenly these lawyers and some people, they even start looking for books. Some clue we may find, somewhere we may find to save the person. So also here is there something. So he went little more deep than earlier, and he's finding is there something that can be done, something, no? And he doesn't want to. Now he found out that no, not possible. It is divine ordinance. It has been decided. So I should not intervene. If I'm going to intervene, probably, if I withdraw that curse, probably, in fact, that may become a curse. Because God knows the best for that soul. So it will be like, if like a caterpillar, to transform into a beautiful butterfly, it has to undergo a lot of hardships. It has to undergo a lot of stages. So eating those mulberry leaves slowly, slowly coming out of the cocoon is very, very painful process for the worm, for that caterpillar. But ultimately, it comes beautifully as a butterfly. But if someone feels compassionate in between and somehow tries to help the caterpillar in coming out of that cocoon, that's it. It would be a disaster in life of a caterpillar. It will die. That's what. No, we should not show compassion where it is not required. So what is best, he knows. See, with his vision, he understood that it is divine will. That's it. And I should not intervene. If I'm going to intervene, this is going to be a display of egoism. He has all the power to withdraw. It's not that he doesn't. That's what he's exercising, that discrimination. My limits are there. I should not transgress these rules. This is divine ordinance. Let me not get in. Once one couple came to this great Kanchi seer, Chandrasekhara Saraswati, Mahaperiyava. They brought a child, they had a special child, and they wanted, I mean, you're given a child after a long time, and that too, a child of like this. He said, you want your happiness or you want his progress? You want his soul to progress or you want your happiness? He's a great soul, he's a yogi, he has come for some karma sesha is there. So as he doesn't have any raga, dvesha, he's a yogi even now, because he doesn't even connect to this world. He's in his own world. He doesn't have raga, he doesn't have attachment, he doesn't have dvesha, he doesn't have hatred or any kind of ill will towards anyone. So he's yogi himself. So consider that you are serving a yogi and help him in his kind of upward journey. If I want to intervene, yeah, I can do. I can do the amendments and I can bring back to the normal state so that you are happy. But this is what? And they pray, Swami, as you say, no, we would like to accept as this condition and we would like to serve him as a yogi, and they accept and they go back. So that is what, so there are many things which we don't understand easily. This life, many things, are not so obvious to us. Only once we have to reach certain level of maturity, or maybe such a level of spiritual evolution to understand many things. Once one lady was asking, no, probably this is the doubt of everyone. She asked Swami, see, I go to many ashrams. I went to Ramana Maharshi ashram. I went to Ramakrishna ashram. Many ashrams. I find always, so much peace there, so much love and peace there. And whenever I come here, Swami, some or the other thing will happen. Someone will shout at me at the accommodation office. Someone has a face of frown in canteen. Sevadal would tell something. Sometimes Swami even used to, jovially say, some people used to complain about a lady. Swami, that lady is so harsh. Swami used to say, oh my God, even I'm afraid of her. So that kind of jokes he used to crack. So he was telling, why Swami, why is this? Everywhere else I found peace, and here I'm finding all these kind of people. What is this? Swami said, that is the power of this place. She didn't get anything. She didn't understand. Swami, can you please explain clearly? See, what happened during that Samudra Manthan, when Asuras were churning the ocean? What was happening? What came first? He said, yes, Swami, the poison, the hala hala came first. So also, anyone who comes into Prashant Nilayam, so it is just like a car has come into the workshop. So the mending would be started. So the churning would start. The internal churning would start. So initially what comes is something that bad in him. So one day something that is good in him, something what he is will manifest. But till then, whatever that is, the venom or whatever that bad in him, that has to come out. Hala hala has to come out. That is what happening with all these people. All these people. You're finding someone angry, that means anger is in him. It is not your problem. Actually, it is his problem. So he is somehow that is coming out. Some way he's expressing that and it is coming out like that. So that is a process. So as last satsang, as Jagadish sir was telling, so work in progress. We are all in work in progress. Or yes, definitely next time whenever we find such people, and it is not a, I think, don't experience of only of that lady. Probably each and every one of us would have experienced it. So whenever we find next time such kind of people, we have to just, Swami, yeah, I understand. This is a case of work in progress. Forgive them. That's it. And forgive me for misunderstanding them. So this is what Swami. So what Swami can see, no, definitely we cannot see. No, can we understand that? Otherwise, no, we just react. Why that lady is like that, and we react. Can we understand in that way that it is a work in progress, or because Swami knows the in and out of everyone, the past, present, and future, and everything. He knows he is at that pedestal, that level of consciousness. He is aware of everything. And that's when he decide not to intervene in the entire process. I leave it to God. If I'm going to intervene, it is going to be egoism. That's where he looks out for a disciple. Even in this conversation, Bhagavan nicely explains what kind of disciple, how the disciple used to be. So one disciple he picks up one disciple that you have to go to Hastinapura. So prepare yourself and meet me. Says, Guru, no preparations, nothing. You can command me right away, and right away I'm going to go. So that kind of firmness, that kind of readiness to accept the command, how the disciples had that time, how much love, devotion towards Guru. It was not even okay. For us, we need to have some advance notices we want. No, why didn't you tell me before? Something suddenly something comes up. No, something Swami throws at us. We have a lot of complaints about it. Had they told me before 1 week earlier, probably I would have gone. Now, how can I go? So suddenly they tell. And most of the time in our organization, it is something very common. Getting sudden notices, sudden things, it's so common. Maybe I think Swami wants to teach us something there. So suddenly he would say, Guru, just like even once we had, I think most of us remember, we even had example with some, experience of Ram Ramam Garu, where some Swami, calls for him and he would be holding something. So he goes to kitchen and he puts the jug or something in kitchen and he goes. So some 10 minutes or something would elapse and he goes 10 minutes later or 5, 10 minutes later. Then Swami says, you're coming now. I asked you, I called you 5, 10 minutes before. Why you're coming now? There was something. Already don't want. When I called you, you didn't come. So over, you can go back. So that readiness should be there, immediacy, as soon as he wants. So that's what was there in this disciple. And one more important thing here is Swami says that he took him inside and told personally. No, he could have told in no public because this is a message that has to be sent to the king. Probably if he had told publicly, he would have got adulation only, he would have got praises only, nothing else. But all these people have that maturity that they know only to do the right. They don't want any praises, they don't want anything else. As he said, no, I'm not elated by praise, or I'm not dejected by ignominy. I'm not, all that kind of things. If someone vilifies me also, I'm okay with it. That's what he says in earlier chapter. Because the one who craves for that Atma Jnana, that Atma, he doesn't even get elated or dejected by these ups and downs in life. So that's where he goes and tells him personally that this is what you're supposed to tell the entire thing to the king. And immediately the student falls at his feet and he leaves for Hastinapura. And meanwhile, here Parikshit had reached the palace, took a brief rest, and suddenly, those thoughts, he was preoccupied with those thoughts. What did I do? It's completely uncalled for. Whatever the behavior I have exhibited there back in the hermitage is something. What I have done, what I have to do now? Should I go back and ask forgiveness? And he started lamenting. What can I do? Can I do some amendments to my crime, what I've done? Should I plead for pardon, or should I offer myself to them to let them give whatever punishment they want to give? What exactly is my duty? So he was clueless about his duty that time. What should I do now? He was struggling within. So when Bhagavan is telling, so that was a momentary, misbehavior in his part, and that also we know that was effect of whatever you call it, momentary thing or a Kali effect. We don't know, but that's the only mistake a man of of this stature, Parikshit, has done in his life. The only mistake, and that too, that has a cause, which we'll come to know. Why it has happened later in later chapters. And for that, he is feeling so much, guilty. What should I do now? I'm ready even if to give up my life also. And then Swami here nicely describes the conversation between the Parikshit and even the guard also, to make us understand more about Parikshit, more about his that guilt feeling. So as soon as he heard, he found, he was thinking, he immediately found one guard at the door, and he finds why you're here, why you're standing here. Says that hermit disciple has come from sage Samika's ashram. He says, oh my God. So Swami nicely describes this. The flower bed, the jasmine bed has suddenly started feeling like a snake bed. So he had that because he was having that fear. What is in the store for me? What is going to happen? What should I do now? And suddenly it is right in the store. Then first he asks, how is he? What is he telling? I mean, is he happy, or is he sad, or is he angry? What was his mood? So he's finding his mood. So based on that, he can guess something. The messenger tells, I mean, this guard tells that nothing of that sort. He looks so calm, peaceful countenance. Nothing. He is not agitated. He is only telling victory to the king, victory to the king. Good should happen to the king. Good should happen. What did you say? What did you reply? He said that I told that he just returned from the forest, so he wanted to take some rest. And once the rest is done, I'll intimate you. Then he said, what did he say back? What did he say for that? And he said, no. Is something urgent? I need to communicate. Oh, my guru has some great message for him, important message for him. So I need to communicate as early as possible. So I'm not going to go. I can't wait and try to communicate this that it's quite urgent. And he says that he is counting his minutes, and he even resisted, even rejected to even sit. He was just standing there to communicate to you something urgently, and the only prayer is the king should be good, king should be good, king should be good, nothing should happen to the king. That's what he's chanting always. That's what his God says, and that kind of comforts, that kind of brings tears to the eyes of Parikshit, and he runs immediately, forgetting everything, even all that royal robes and everything, and he just runs as he was with, even with the upper garment also, that on the the cloth on the top. He just comes like that, and he finds the disciple, and he welcomes the disciple, both of them, and he holds his hand. He falls at his feet first. That kind of reverence, how Swami is elevating the character, how Parikshit. He's so reverential to even to a disciple. So how could he do that to even to that sage then? That is all this natak, divine Jagannatakam, they say. It's all his drama, divine drama. He falls and slowly he takes him inside, makes him sit in a high seat, and it's what is the message that you want to convey to me? What is the message from your guru? Because my guru has sent you blessings. Swami nicely describes, this disciple has also has tears because he didn't bring good news, and he has that heavy heart. How emotional, because I have to tell somebody now that you're going to die in 7 days. It's not an easy thing. So he had the tears in eyes. What is going to happen? Is something going to happen? And even here also, Bhagavan says that no, kingdom is first to the ruler. Like the kingdom is first to Parikshit. He's saying, is there anything bad going to happen to my kingdom or my aesthetics or what? He says, no, nothing is going to happen to your kingdom or aesthetics. It's only something that is going to happen. It is to you. Suddenly he feels so glad, actually, feels so light. Oh, something happening to me. My kingdom and my all these sages and all are safe, right? That's enough. I am not now worried about anything. No? Just tell me now. Some great mistake has happened from our side. He says that, a great mistake, and I want to tell what mistake, what kind of thing. He probes him. So please tell me. Please tell me something. What is? And he's happy that whatever it is, my kingdom is safe now. My subjects are safe. My hermits are safe. Everyone is safe. Think let it come, whatever, if it comes to me. That's the character. Swami elevates that. Suddenly, that is the actual character, personality of Parikshit. His love, his compassion. And with this chapter ends. And we'll see in the next chapter what exactly happens, the conversation between the further conversation between the disciple and the king, and how would king take it when he comes to know the truth, and what was his reaction, and what were the things that were the after effects of this curse, or when he comes to know the news. So with this, I close today's my sharing or my perspectives. Now I want to listen to perspectives of or anything, important points to be discussed, or any questions. Today's presentation. Saira. Param, it is open for discussion now. So kindly share your thoughts or any questions. A lot of insights to be discussed also. We can discuss. Anyone is open to, can open the conversation. You need not wait for someone else.
Okay, let me start. As usual, Suma, it's a beautiful session as usual. You leave us happy after the session. But I have a small question. Something which always keeps bothering me is about the curse. A curse. A person cursing a person, is it good or bad? Okay, there is one version saying that it is for establishment of dharma. But when the curse is based on an ego, is it good or bad?
Here, if I say this curse is based on, I would say, love for a father, a son's love for father. I think suddenly if someone insults your father, we also would not be able to take it, right? Suddenly that comes out. I think it is not even out of ego. He didn't know I am somebody and I have to curse him. That kind of ego I don't find in this curse. It is at the end of the day, it's a divine play that has to happen. But I think its love for father is more the reason. Because the insult I cannot bear. What kind of insult? Of course, in eyes of Samika, it is nothing. But he is a young boy. I think from his perspective, if I look at, I don't find. I mean, we do such kind of mistakes. Of course, we came to know that he is still work in progress. So from that perspective, I don't think it is wrong. Of course, cursing would never be a right thing. As you say, probably that 5.5 seconds, always we take pause. Probably we never curse anyone. At least we'll try to compose ourselves, calm ourselves, and try to as just here trying to find out the context and the background of what made the person behave like that. Probably all these things, if we look at, probably we never would curse any person. So all this curse and everything, I think it's momentary. Yes, definitely it may come out of our ego, out of our ignorance, or something like that. So yeah, still, I would not say it is the right thing. We have to work on that. At least try to see that we would not curse anyone, because once it comes out of mouth, we cannot take it back. It is a thing we cannot undo certain thing. And if happens to be, it really happens, curse comes out like manifests, just like it manifests in some, when some people say it happens like that, we feel really bad later. Why did I curse that person? I shouldn't have done that. I think ultimately it creates guilt in us, and we are only going to suffer by that curse, not the other person. So in that way, I don't think curse is not good at all any times. So let us always strive to become master, at least taking that pause for some time, so that our reactive nature can turn to reflective nature.
Lovely, lovely. Thank you. Thank you, Suman.
Thank you.
Suman,
Thanks.
as usual, drowned in your narrative.
And became drowsy, is it?
No, I'm drowned in your narrative beauty,
Yeah.
masterpiece.
Drowning made you drowsy or something?
No, not at all. Engrossed,
Okay.
so to say. Yes. Want to spend more time contemplating on so many value-based things which you said. And you beautifully narrated that why should there be such a awful death curse for a trivial mistake is how Samika reasons out to the son, upset that you have spoiled the lineage and done disservice to the community, and what kind of miseries can befall as a consequence. But then the son also realizes the mistake and repents. And when the repentance sets in, a very important thing which you shared, Swami's teaching, that the tone, tenor, and anger of Samika comes down, and he makes the son sit next to him and explains to him what exactly has gone wrong and how he was totally out of place in terms of giving a painful death does not benefit the lineage of any sage. After all, this fellow did it out of a momentary frustration. And then very beautifully you introduce the value of parenting, the ability to communicate to the child. And that one powerful story which you shared of this child being called Rakshas, he ends up being an antisocial, killing the father and grandfather. What kind of an impact? Many a times the parents' ego kills the children. Yes, at the moment, like Swami did, when a wrong is a wrong, he would not speak for some time, and then once the repentance sets in, he allows people to reform instead of being continuously reprimanding. And that story of that professor playing badminton with the kid whom he slapped the previous day for a wrong. These are really very powerful examples that yes, we also need, perhaps for the sake of discipline and other things, we may have to blow hot, blow cold as a. And Swami never really got angry from inside, but he, for outside, he would put the divine drama just to make the student learn. The intent behind the anger is also so important, but the parenting aspect, what you shared, was brilliant. And a positive aspect of the parenting, you came up with that Sudhamurthy story. What touched me was when you ended that story, we live in a country where Sudhamurthy lives was a statement made by somebody. It does. Yeah, it does the nation proud to have people of that kind of that character, the determination to bring up the best children. Your suggestion that even the small acts of bringing the child to the Balavikas so that seeds of value can be planted in them is something very, I can personally relate to it. In the sense, my daughter was also thanks to my father's prompting, she was put to Balavikas in Sai Geetanjali. She did well year after year till she graduated out of Balavikas with flying colors. But you'll be surprised to know that when she came into the world outside, she picked values which she should not, and it was quite unfortunate. She lost connect with Swami and his values. The peer pressure group and things like that, living in hostels, and I don't want to go more into it. You can imagine the rest. But she's now settled, married, a qualified lawyer, and a very competent person. She comes back to tell me that all the seeds which we had planted into her mind is sprouting now. And all that Balvika's values are coming back to her. And she realizes what kind of, a loss of direction she had gone through. And she counsels her own peer groups as to how she has got hold of herself back to meaningful direction in life. So this Sudhamurthi's effort, when the child sitting in foreign country earning a scholarship and remembering on the birthday to send it back to his mother to share for the cause of a deserving child is a phenomenal illustration. I just thought I will echo on these values very strong. Yes, this is what our youth should hear loud and clear. Thank you so much, Saira.
Thank you, sir. Any thoughts, any points, any questions also?
I have a question I wanted to ask, but you were explaining about the power of group prayers, power of manifesting. After all, what is manifested today was a thought some time back. And in that context, I want to ask you, is there something called group karma? After all, in this material world, we are bound by Maya. Our actions, innocent or otherwise, has its own cause and consequences. And when you are in a group, the group influence also creates, today, why I raise this question is, we are strongly opinionated. We form our opinions based on what we hear, what we see in WhatsApp universities and in social media. And for example, there was one journalist lady who was saying that the Manipur catastrophe started with fake news. And, my heart cries for the people who have lost their lives and who have been completely disturbed. I am not a political and I don't care who's right and wrong, but I am asking, is there something called a group karma? Why these things happen? Of course, Swami sees a larger picture than all of us put together. These are to happen in this world, but I want some comments from the group for my understanding.
Yeah, it's open for discussion and anyone can put forward your views. Amanath sir, your reviews on this?
Yeah, Sridhar sir's question normally is very deep questions. Anyway, see, when there is definitely, my humble opinion is there's definitely going to be what is known as a group karma is definitely is going to happen. It's my personal opinion. See, when we talk about Kali Yuga and all, it is again it's the group karma which acts. And if there's going to be a positive group bhajan, when you sing it's a positive, there's definitely going to be a negative effect when there is a so all the negative things happen because of a bad group. So that is what I feel, that it does exist.
Thank you, brother. See, Suman came up with one expression: with great power comes great responsibilities too. Like Samika, he could withdraw the curse by interfering. Instead, he closes his eyes, prays, and realizes that it is divinely ordained game of Maya and he cannot interfere into it, but believes in the group prayer. And he was emphasizing about Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu, Swami also chanting along with us in many occasions, and the humility of our Bhagwan in action. Yeah, in that context, perhaps, is it not our responsibility as a society to manifest thoughts in our minds to create a peaceful tomorrow? In that context, this group karma was triggering in my mind. In putting it differently, a half glass of water is half full or half empty. As much as we talk about this, how do we preempt these negative forces from spreading their fangs and spreading that fire? And as in every calamity we have seen in the Satya Sai Seva organizations, we come together, we pray together, we work for the management of the calamity and bringing salvation to the disturbed many. Is this also group karma, and is this can the larger group karma of this kind influence the society? My mind is running very fast in these thoughts. I'm sorry, Sairam.
Beautiful, beautiful perspective. I think that was the reason which Swami even encouraged that mass chanting of Rudram also. See, the power of Rudram is, that time, when it was started, initiated, they telling that it can create that invisible weapons that can destroy this negativity. So when all together, do the kind of intensity with which, it can create, because a lot of negativity is around. Because Bhagavan started at around, I think, this particular mass Rudram thing, 2008. So that was when actually we had that Mumbai attacks and many things, so I think definitely, when we are part of that, definitely we are going to affect. That's why Bhagavan has encouraged every time collective prayers, collective. So we can definitely bring that good. That's why we encourage that, that kind of. Why our organization encourages all these group things. So I feel definitely we are going to create good. Otherwise, Bhagwan wouldn't have initiated that. If there is nothing like that, if only single person would have said, okay, you do in your own homes. Of course, that has its own effect. But as a group, definitely, I think probably the kind of peace we find in Kulwant Hall, because group of people, so many people daily do the prayers there. So the kind of peace it holds, the kind of the joy the place holds because of the nama they have done, and all together they have done. I think that power is quite visible there. I think we can experience that power ourselves. I think that is going to create all over the world. I feel if all of us are together doing with that good intent and taking the name, even with sometimes with bad intent also. Swami says, no, if someone says with bad intent my name, even that is also useful to someone. That is also useful in your life. Once one lady came, some story I heard from brother, I think was Nikhil was sharing. One lady came to Patti in earlier days, in Pathamandiram days, and she, she was seeing so harshly that no one could even stay in the room at all. She was so bad it was. So, and Swami gave her chance, not just one bhajan, bhajan after bhajan she was singing, and people couldn't stay. Such was her, bad singing, and everyone went out of the room except Swami was listening nicely. And after some time, Swami asked her to stop and you go. So even after that, that lady never came back and she went. Swami said, "Why did you give the chance to her? She was so badly." So this lady used to take my name in previous janma by doing witchcraft. For bad reasons, she took my name. Of course, for the bad reasons, what she has done, she is suffering now. But for the good cause, she has taken my name. Of course, the intent was bad, but she took my name. So that punya is there. So that made her sing today in front of me, and I heard her all this while. Was that? So I think definitely, even if we take with the good and bad, if we are doing all collectively are going to do good, it has a good impact that would going to create.
You also made one observation about religion creates psychological or mass
Yes,
hypnotism in terms
yes,
of Rao Kala
creating
Yamak
certain.
and
Yeah.
yeah, maybe our forefathers and elders had some approach to create the positive mass hypnotism in one way or the other.
Correct. Because otherwise, many flights and trains leave in auspicious times, so they don't see all the calendars and start right.
Mhm. This Arvind Balasubramaniam story you said, yeah, that the child was playing foul in a game of Damsharad, and this fellow, despite reprimanding, he could not listen, so he was given a blow, and then he felt bad. The child did not react but kept quiet, and that silence was a greater torture than a reaction from him. Is again a very a deep aspect of behavioral psychology. I think when we adapt that, the other person would melt, like how this fellow did, and then he gave Swami's kerchief to him, and they both hugged each other and all that. Actually, the silence preempted further damage also, and instead foisted compassion and mutual love.
Yeah.
Was again a very strong sharing.
Thank you, sir. Sometimes, I mean, when we are silent, I mean, we give a lot of room for their imagination. So that can torture them a lot. What is he thinking? He's thinking something big to, do on me. So he imagines more. Probably we may not be doing anything, or we may not have any intent. Just be silent. So he thinks more, and that's why the torture is more in silence. He just reacts back or tells, he yells that that's over. That's over there. But when the silence, it feels like a pause for the other person. Any more thoughts or questions before closing?
Many times people have come before Swami with people suffering, and in many cases Swami refused to interfere and not to alter the karmic exhaustion of the, the victim, or whatever you would say. You also talked about Mahapariva doing the same thing. The message was, do you want to allow him to progress? Is your happiness more important, or his progress? But seldom can an ordinary average person reason out in that level. No, the people who are caregivers to these special children, they go through quite a tough experience.
Yes, absolutely. Even we have in our family, so people who are facing that. Probably, I think that is the seva there, or what you can give it any name with it, karma or seva, whatever it is. They have
In
to go
fact, you
through that.
said that you should consider it as seva to this yogi of the previous births.
Yeah. Because any special child, he doesn't have any raga dvesha. If you look at, he would not have any attachment to the world, or he would not have any kind of hatred towards anyone. So they're all yogis only. So all the parents are serving yogis only, for that matter. All parents of special children. So they suffer because they have that attachment. But if we consider that they're serving some yogi, probably I think they need to elevate themselves to that level. So maybe that would bring some. Of course, the attachment would always be there, and that whatever you call, maybe painful, but at the end of the day, maybe that is required for them, even for their spiritual upliftment also.
And this illustration of this lady who goes to several ashrams and have nice experience, but when she comes to Pati, she always has a different experience. And you used an expression, that is the power of this place, which brings out all the poison out first, like how it happens in Samudra Manthan was again a beautiful sharing.
I think most of the experience of the lady is not just hers. I think most of us can connect with it.
Yeah. And the only mistake of Parikshith in his illustrious life was that momentary frustration. Okay, and then you conclude that it is a divine natak.
Yes.
Yeah, nice expression. I think in a session, Mahendra's session or something also, we heard of this. Why should this happen to a person of this type? It is a divine dispensation and we have to take it in our stride. Who are you to comprehend? It's beyond you to comprehend the divine designs of life.
Correct, correct. He has written the script, so we cannot change it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. If no more questions, we can close the session. Questions or any thoughts? So we close the session with Asatoma. Asatoma Tadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritangamaya. Oh, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की जय.
Yeah. Thank you, Suman. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Sairam, brother. Thank you.
Sairam, Sairam.